Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening. This is the first Premier League weekend show. So welcome. This is myself, Lauren and Matt, and we'll be discussing pretty much most things that's gone on in the Premier League this weekend, all the games and controversies, goals, everything. And we do also have a special guest, which is Talk MU. How are we all doing?
Yes. Thanks for inviting me to the first show. I really appreciate it. I'm so looking forward to this.
It is indeed. I'm looking forward to it. There's been some cracking results this weekend. Some teams winning right at the end as well. Of course, we'll talk about them in a moment. But we are going to start off, aren't we, Lauren? I think we all agreed, seeing as we're all Man United fans, talk and get it out the way, right? That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Leicester 4, Man United 2. Now, let's start with you, Lauren. What did you make of the game this weekend? I mean, disappointing from our point, isn't it? Good for the Leicester point of view, bouncing back for them. I mean, what do you make of it?
I think from start to finish, it was so disappointing as a United fan, coming from just seeing the starting 11 with Harry Maguire. Way too early for him to come back, but Ollie decided to make that decision. Poor attacking play from us, poor defending. There was no real redeeming factors from the United team. We had maybe 3 decent players. De Gea saved us from probably more goals. I think Matic did pretty well, made one mistake for one of the goals, but, and Greenwood obviously scored an absolute screamer, and we did see Rashford come on. As a Leicester fan, absolutely fantastic. They've been drawing, losing games in the league. They've not really been doing too well. So for them to beat us like they did, 4-2 with 2 goals coming quite late on, you've got to hand it to them. They made us look stupid.
Tillemans had a great game, didn't he, as well? I know we were looking at getting him at some point at Man United, but I mean, look, he had a cracking game. He scored a great goal against, it was a little chip, wasn't it, over De Gea? Yeah. Really nice goal from their point of view. Talk, what did you make of the game?
Oh, mate, I did the watch along on the Man United agenda, and that's at first when we first started off, I was looking at the shape of the team and the positions we were taking up, and I was thinking, all right, okay, we're going to be up for this, but no, the lack of pressing. I mean, if you're going to take those kind of positions on the pitch, you know what I mean? You've got to press. We weren't doing it. We were just like static. We're like mannequins, and it was very disappointing. And the defending, I agree with you as well, Lauren. The Harry Maguire, and I did say on the night before, I think it was the night before, we did the show with Mr. B and me on a Monday. And I said, I think Maguire's going to start. And they were like, no, he's injured. And I said, well, we'll see. And boom, he started. But he was too early for Maguire. The best thing about the game was, well, 2 things, was Mason Greenwood's wonder strike and Marcus Rashford, getting the goal. But the rest of it was... It was crazy, to be fair. It was just unbelievable at times to watch and hard to watch.
It was, wasn't it, Lauren? 2-2 and then letting in them 2 goals at the end as well. Just not in focus, were we? Straight after that second goal as well from Rashford that we let in the goal.
It's like 15 seconds, wasn't it, from the kickoff? How are we letting that happen?
I mean, the thing with, if you look at it, if you go back and look, you see Harry Maguire, and I think this is like testament to him not being fit, was I can't remember, what's the guy called? Was it Ricardo? Who scored
he
the
was
goal?
A nuisance. Yeah, he scored
he scored the second goal?
Was it?
Well, anyway, the goal
Yeah.
where Maguire he was in front of Maguire. Maguire puts his hands out, and it's like, right, I've got you. But then he puts his hands down. Then the player then just goes, well, I'm going to go right behind you here. And Harry Maguire's watching the ball.
Yeah, he just stops and watches him.
And he's gone, yeah. And then he looks round at him and goes, yeah, what are you doing? You're supposed to be there. You're supposed to be over there, mate. Get your ass over there. And then before you know it, the ball's in the net. You're like, oh my God. And do you know, I was worried, to be fair, because as soon as it kicked off, what did Harry Maguire do? His first touch, put the ball out of play, so a throw in for them. And at that moment, I thought, oh, that's not a good start. Yeah. So, and so it proved it wasn't a good end.
It wasn't, not for us, but for Leicester it was, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, yeah, Leicester, listen, Brendan Rodgers, he's doing okay there with that squad that he's got. He's got a few good players there. It's not, let's have it right, they're not under any real kind of the same expectancy as they are any manager is at Manchester United. We have to remember that. Yeah. That when you talk about Manchester United, we stand up there on our own in terms of the expectancy, the desire, and also when it comes to the manager's position, it is the toughest job in world football, in my opinion. Just it really is. There's so many factors, and I can't go through them all now because obviously we'll be here all night. But there's just so many factors that lead from one to another that makes this the hardest job in world football. Yeah. And I've just had a message with somebody else on Twitter about this, and I pointed out, look, Jose Mourinho, supposedly one of the best managers, if not the best manager at the time in the world, failed. I don't take second place. Second place means nothing. It's nothing, right? It's first, right? The Europa League. If I had a choice between a bush and the Europa League pot to go for a pee in, I'd choose the bush, right? Simple. I wouldn't even, honestly, it means nothing to us Man United fans. Let's have it right. We are much better than that, right? So I don't, yeah, all right, he won a trophy, wow, blah, blah, but that's it. It was a crap trophy. He failed, in my opinion. Louis van Gaal failed, right? David Moyes, say no more. So
you're basically saying Ole's failed then, yeah?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that to this point, Ole because you got to look at the way the club was when the last manager left. We were in a proper turgid place, and it was all over the shop. So he's come in and he's settled the club down. Yeah, he's made some signings and everything else. But for me, I'm still backing Ole, and the only reason I'm still backing him is because I believe there's something in me that gives me the feeling that something's going to change very shortly, and it's going to be for the better, and things are going to improve massively. Now, whether that be the coaching staff is going to get the elbow into the youth setup and other parts of the club, and Rene Mullenstein is going to come back with his group, or if it's not that, it's then that Ole is going to be much braver, and he's going to switch his system back to which is 4-3-3.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that, mate, won't we? But I mean, not a good performance from Man United against Leicester there. We're going to have to talk about our rivals who we are playing next Sunday. So that's I thought that's probably best to put this result in next. It does hurt me, I know, but we're trying to be non-biased here. Lauren, I mean, what did you make of this result? Liverpool 5-0 against Watford at Vicarage Road.
I'm not surprised, but I'm going to go straight into this, and I'm going to ask you both a question. Is Salah currently the best player in the world?
With the last two games, you'd put him in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would. I think Salah his technical ability, his understanding of the game, his positioning, his movement, I can't imagine the only player I can put him next to right now is Lionel Messi, and that says it all, doesn't it? So listen, Mo Salah is absolutely fantastic, and if Liverpool manage to keep hold of him, because you can imagine now what the clubs around Europe must be thinking, looking at Mo Salah. It's like you're salivating, aren't you? If you're Real Madrid, if you're Barcelona or Juventus, PSG, it's like whoa. Because let's have it right. Listen, PSG, Mbappe is going to be gone. I know Mbappe plays left, but even so, there are ways they can move around that. And there's big money there.
I 100% agree. I think Salah is currently, he's the man that everyone wants, and the performances he's putting in and the goals that he is scoring are just incredible, and they're second to none. Like the first goal yesterday, his whole build-up play to it, the way he was running through the defenders in the box, and it was nothing short of perfect, to be honest, that goal. And it absolutely pains me to say, because he does play for Liverpool and he is Mo Salah, and it's horrible, but he's at the moment he's just unbeatable.
He is. Yeah, look, you know what? It reminded me of that goal that he scored against Man City. How he put people on their arse and then like hit it to the far corner. It was even better, I think, actually, than the goal against Man City. The way he shuffled and moved it about, and he made it look so easy, and it probably wasn't that easy. You know, it was just, he knows what to do. He's used to doing that sort of he's used to having that sort of position where he can get around a few players and just knock it home. You agreeing with that?
Oh, of course, without a doubt. I mean, he's low centre of gravity. His whole body shape, in terms of his stature and everything, is perfect. You know, and he uses it to the best of his ability, and he's absolutely top draw. And like I say, it does pain us to say this. We're talking about a Liverpool player, but let's not forget. I'm not taking anything away from Mo's goal or anything that he does on the pitch, but Watford did not help themselves.
No.
Claudio Ranieri's first game, Lauren, wasn't it?
I've already written down, how long will they give Ranieri?
Yeah.
I honestly, I think it's still Christmas. I think he goes at Christmas.
You think he's going to last that long?
Because it's typical Watford, isn't it? I'm surprised he's not been sacked already after losing one game.
They change every season, don't they, managers, for some reason? Like, it turns to autumn and then they go, right, we've got to change it now.
The thing for me is, I just think back with Claudio. I think, it's his first game, and you could see the absolute disgust and disappointment on his face. He must have been stood at himself thinking, what have I got myself into here? However, I do think that he will, at a bit more time, I think he'll turn it around then. I think I'm going to put my neck on the line here. I think they'll be safe this season under him. I don't think they're going to, root up any trees or anything like that, but I think they'll be safe, and that's just probably all they can ask for right now, is to be safe in the Premier League, considering, what's been going on at the club. Okay,
fair enough. We'll move on to the next one. Just read out a few comments here. We've got quite a few. Almighty Blues FC, big up yourself.
Ankit, that's me.
Yes, Luca. Anthony Herbert, big up. Jamie Gretton, evening.
Yes, Jamie.
Vivian, big up. Would say it was a good game, but out of the blue. But you got to give Leicester credit. We are giving Leicester a lot of credit for that, honestly. We're not sore losers, not that bad anyway. We had a sore weekend, didn't we? But we're going to get over that now, finally, hopefully. Hopefully. So much for relegation battle for Arsenal, eh? Well, you never know. You've got a game tomorrow. We will talk about that a little bit in a bit. But let's go back to the games, because we've got quite a few to go through. Newcastle 2, Spurs 3 obviously just happened. And that the fan is all right, actually, because they had, I think, a cardiac arrest. And I think Reguilon had to go over to the bench and get them to run over to the sideline.
I would like to wade in with this, please, very Lauren, in depth, really. So I was absolutely disgusted at the fact that Dyer had to run across the pitch to the fourth official to get a defibrillator. I am sorry, but paramedics were already at him. Their kit should be big enough to be handling a defibrillator on their persons, to ensure that they can use that as quick as they can. The fact that a player on the pitch had to run over and signal for that, I think, is absolutely disgusting. And I think what they did was correct by stopping the game, because if that was me or a family member and they were potentially losing their life and the game was carrying on like nothing was going on, I think it'd be absolutely devastating. So I think they did everything right, obviously, bar the defibrillator, because I think Reguilon was incredible to get the ref's attention.
Yeah.
And say, look, we need to stop the game here. There's something, we need medical attention over there. I think hats off to him and hats off to Dyer as well, because, Dyer still made them aware that they needed defib. But I think it was Kieran Dyer said as well that the officials were too slow.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know, because I think at first when Reguilon is telling the ref, look, someone in the stands needs medical attention, the ref's got to think, right, they're not on the pitch, they're not affecting the game. What's the right thing for me to do here? Because everyone's always going to have different opinions. So, and it's not something that happens all the time. So himself has got to make that decision as quick as he can, but he's got to make the right decision. And sometimes you don't know what the right decision is. So for me, I think the ref did the right thing, but you could tell he was kind of taking the time to work out what was the right thing to do. But hats off to the paramedics and everything. They got him stabilized and he's gone to hospital. So I hope the fan, is doing all right now.
Yeah, agree with that talk. I mean, you said it to me actually earlier, didn't you? You said you're watching the game and the fact that a fan had gone or started a cardiac arrest. Yeah, what did you make of it and the game anyway? I mean, Newcastle started off very well, didn't they? 1-0 up in the first couple of minutes. Yeah. But yeah, what's your thoughts overall?
The incident itself, I was watching and I seen Reguilon with the referee pointing at the crowd, and straight away I thought, right, someone's either ill or something's been thrown or something has been said.
Racism at first.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So and I was like, oh, what's going on here now? And then it all plays out. But yeah, I agree with Lauren that there were Dyer and Reguilon and the right decisions were made and everything else, and I wish the person all the best. In terms of the game itself, I mean, look, they tried Newcastle. They really did try. But I just think Spurs were just a little bit too, how should I say it, focused. A lot more focused. Because you got to remember, Newcastle, the whole world's been turned upside down, so you can't really sort of expect too much from new owner bounce. It's a different thing to a new manager bounce, isn't it, really? So there was a lot of things at play there in that game for Newcastle. But I think overall, Newcastle didn't sort of do a lot wrong, to be honest with you. I just think that Spurs were just more focused and they were more sort of calm, whereas Newcastle were a little bit hot and bothered, it looked to me, with everything that's going on. So, but to get to the when they got that goal, when it went to 3-2, I was thinking, oh, hey up, I'm there. I'm finishing off making the curry there for my wife and my son, and I'm like, oh, hey up, you know what I mean? I had to stop, set the rice off the boil. I'm like, whoa, are they going to do it? And I was like, oh no, better put the rice back on because it's going to go soggy. So, but yeah, no, it was an interesting game, and they were nearly there to get a point out of it. But Steve Bruce, he got his game in the end, didn't he? But I think that's enough for him. 1,000
games for him ends in a loss, but never mind.
It's funny. It's the most mediocre celebration of someone ever. He's done his 1,000th game, but he's never won anything. His best win ratio was when he was a manager for 18 games. Bless him, and it's great, the longevity that, clubs do come in for him, but 1,000 games with nothing to show for it. Oh, it's a sad state of affairs, isn't it, really? And I think we do need to touch on Shelby as well.
We do. Please go on, please.
That man's a walking red card.
Yeah.
How long had he been on the pitch? Not even 10 minutes. And he got 2 yellow cards.
And it was the same ref who had sent him off before. I think it was even in the same fixture. I'm sure they said it was the same fixture. And it's like,
whoa, wait a minute. The way he lashed out, it was just like, what are you doing? Like, you're definitely going to be sent off eventually. And
because the second one was just a last ditch tackle on it. It was one of them he kind of needed to take him out, but he was already on a yellow card. So do you run the risk or don't you? And he did.
Yeah.
It looked to me a little bit of a little bit like he was resigned to the fact that his time at Newcastle is coming to an end.
Yeah.
If I'm honest with you, as well. I think there was a bit of that at play. There's a few players there as well who I think will be in that sort of mindset. It's like, oh, better start talking to my agent now and try and get something sorted here, because there's going to be a few players on the move. But apparently, just whilst we're quickly talking about Newcastle, we got told, didn't we, that there was they could spend up like 200 million in January Then I read today that, oh yeah, the Newcastle have set aside 50 million for the next transfer window. You're like, what?
Oh,
50?
it's not a lot
What's
now in
happened
this
there?
market.
Is it heck? What are you going to get for 50? And I'm like, well, wait a minute. What's going on here? And I'll listen. When when we're talking about how things are going, how quick are things going to get done, I think there's a bit of like moment of realization here from the owners. They're like, well, wait a minute, we haven't even got a manager yet. We can't. As I said it to you, Matt. I said, listen, why are the owners now of Newcastle being the ones to start pointing out players that they want when they haven't even got a manager in yet? That makes no sense whatsoever. What do you think, Lauren?
Yeah, I think you've got to cement your manager first, because sometimes managers are the one that can bring players in. That manager is sometimes that person who entices a player to your club. What are you going to do if you get all these great players, but you've not got a proper cemented manager to coach them and to manage them? It's not going to work. You have to have the manager first, because he's the one that's going to be managing everyone and the players who want to come to the club.
Yeah, but and also for me, what they've got to consider here is they have to consider their position in terms of where they are situated. They're in Newcastle, in the north of England, where it's a lot. It's cold. It's blah blah blah. They have to get the right players in who are going to fit into what their next stage of their plan is. They can't. I don't think they're going to be able to, even with all the money flashing about that they've got. They're going to not be able to bring in the real big names just yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's only going to come once success starts to happen. But so right now this is the most important part. It's like, when a new baby's born, you have to give them the best nutrients possible to give them a good start growing older. Yeah. And the same applies with this football club right now. They've got to nurture this stage as carefully as possible, because if they get this part wrong, they could be going around in circles, just spending money after money after money and getting nowhere.
Yeah, completely.
They need to start a rebuild process, don't they? That's going to fit in with their way of working.
Yeah, they've got to bring in players, and they're not going to be world class at the moment. They're going to be players that you think might just be able to get them mid-table. Say they want to get them in a comfortable position, and then try and attract more players and say, look, we're pushing for Europa League. You got to do it step by step. You can't just go, right, next year we want Premier League and that's done. I don't think they'll go that route. They'll take it step by step. Let's talk about Brentford and Chelsea. Brentford so unlucky to get a goal, weren't they? I think seven goal attempts on target as well for Brentford, and none of them going in. An overhead kick as well. That was a great save by Mendy. Brilliant save. Any thoughts on the game, Lauren? Like, did you check out the highlights?
Mendy's world class. Absolutely world class. I don't care what anyone says. He is unbelievable. And okay, we're talking about Brentford, but they're doing decent, and they were really, really unlucky yesterday to not get even a point out of that game. Or they had some I think Mendy kept Chelsea in that game, in all honesty. Because Brentford, like you just said, had some really, really, really good shots. And there was some great saves from Mendy. I think it's funny how now Lukaku's banging in goals again. He's no longer looking like he's running in mud like he did at United. Absolutely great signing for Chelsea. They couldn't have made a better signing than Lukaku. So yeah, I think Brentford were unlucky, but this is how Chelsea are gonna play this year. Lukaku banging in the goals and Mendy making the saves.
Agreed. I mean, Brentford have given a lot of teams trouble, like the first game of the season with Arsenal, and they've come close, like winning against a few teams that they've just lost, unfortunately, because they always play very well, and they did play very well against Chelsea. But if you're going for the title this year, you've got to scrape them games, haven't you? When you're facing a good team like Brentford. What did you make of the game?
Yeah, we have to give Mendy a lot of credit, because he was absolutely sensational and he's a great goalkeeper. Chelsea, I mean, yeah, and do you know what? I'm holding my, I'm going to hold my bit with Chelsea, because I just think they're not. I don't think they're going to win the league. I don't think that. I'm not on the Chelsea are going to win the league bus. I don't think that's going to happen for them. I just think they're too. He plays. If you just watch how Tuchel sets up and plays, it's just it's really simple, but like a well organised. And obviously you got the target man in Lukaku. Now listen, yeah, again, they were put to the test by Brentford. Now, Brentford are a newly promoted club who are brave. You know, this Thomas Frank, he plays a type of game that is, they can do everything. You know, they can break teams down, they get in behind, they can counter attack, they know when not to press and when to press. The problem we've got with Brentford is when they are pressing, and I think this comes down to individual player understanding of their positioning and stuff, is they can leave some really big spaces, and that's where they can get exploited. And if he could get a couple, like 2 or 3 signings of better quality, I think there's more to come from this guy as well, this Thomas Franks. I think that he's going to do a lot more next season with Brentford, because one thing's for sure, Brentford are not going anywhere this season.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they've done enough to probably stay up already, haven't they? Really, you know, like, very, very good, very, very nice team to watch that's been promoted as well. You usually think like Norwich and Fulham and teams like that, they usually, you know, they're going straight back down. But Brentford, they're doing a Wolves, they're doing a Sheffield United. It's quite impressive. How about our other rivals, Lauren? 2-0 against Burnley.
With this one, I feel like I'm not sure. Like if I just feel like there wasn't much to say. Obviously, I only watched the highlights of it. I just think it's a 2-0 City. You wouldn't really expect anything less. I did see that Burnley had a lot of chances. You know, so they weren't necessarily. I mean, obviously, I didn't see the whole games, but by the looks of the highlights and the chances that Burnley had, it doesn't look like City were completely all over them. But obviously, they just couldn't finish it. But De Bruyne and Silva, and it's that the moment they did start a little bit shaky, City, but they're not looking like they're missing Aguero. They've got other players that generate goals. Jesus, he's nothing. But you've got the players like De Bruyne and Silva who are coming in and doing the job and, you know, still bagging the goals for him.
Yeah. Talk. What about you? I mean, I thought that was a great goal from Kevin De Bruyne. Really, really well taken.
Yeah, listen, I didn't see the game, to be honest with you. But, I mean, listen, you know what you're going to get from Burnley. You know, we all know what Burnley are like. And I think, to be honest, I thought people have got this thing a bit against Burnley. A lot of people want them relegated and all that nonsense. And I just think, you know what, Sean Dyche is doing the best he can with what he's got.
Yeah.
And I think Sean Dyche is a decent manager. But I mean, it's Man City, and you know what, they can. This is why I believe Man City will win the league, just because they are, you know, they're patient. They've got trust in each other. They've always got a great plan, and they stick to it. And in the end, they could break a brick wall down and score a goal. So it's not as simple as that.
Simple as that. We don't want to talk too much about Man City, do we, Lauren? Really?
No.
No.
Aston Villa 2, Wolves 3, and they won it right at the end, didn't they? I mean, that was a terrific game. I watched it. Very good game indeed. What did you make of it, Lauren? Like, unfortunate for Aston Villa as well.
Yeah, McGinn, great goal from him. Very good. I know he did take a deflection, but I think the play up to that as well was, you know, it was very good. I'd really rate McGinn, actually. I do really like him as a player. And then Neves' last minute goal, and you know, towards the end of the game, he is some player, and he is someone I have tweeted over and over again that I would have at Manchester United in a heartbeat.
Okay.
I really, really rate him, and I think it was a great goal to get him the win.
Yeah. What I mean, he does look like a terrific player, and he played really well yesterday. What did you make of the game? I mean, really well done by Wolves. Haven't scored a lot actually this Premier League season so far. So nice to see him get at least 3 goals in one game.
Yeah, I mean, I think as good as it was by Wolves, I think I would be more disappointed for Aston Villa, because Aston Villa quite clearly got the better team there. You know, they spent a lot of money. They've bought some great players in. Dean Smith, you know, I mean, we talk about other managers having how much time have they got? You know, is Dean Smith here? Is he on a short run of games? If he gets a couple of bad results on back to back, is he then under serious pressure? Because
you never really hear about that, do you?
No,
No.
that, and I think he will be. But even though he has done a great job in terms of turning Villa around since he's been in there.
Mm-hmm.
He has got them playing a lot better. There's no two ways about that. But I would have expected Villa to see that game out, but they just couldn't manage it.
No, I'm a bit worried for Aston Villa this season. I know they looked like they were starting off very well, dropping a few points here and there, though. Obviously doing well against us, of course. Everybody's doing well against Man United at the moment, so it's not a difficulty. Okay, let's go on to. I know you wanted to talk about this one, Lauren, because you said about VAR in the Norwich and Brighton game. What did you pick out of the game there?
So with that, the penalty decision, I think with me, I don't really think there was that much contact. Personally, I think there was some slight contact with Krul, but I think that it was really, really soft. So for it to go to VAR and they look at it, I can understand they're just seeing contact, but you've got to look at it in a sense of should the player have really actually gone down. But in the same breath of saying that, I also think that if that was someone playing for your team, would you want them to go down in case they got that penalty?
Good question.
It's kind of, I don't think it was a penalty. I think the right decision was made. But I think if that was your player, you would still want him to go down and take that risk and potentially get the penalty. So, because a lot of people were saying it was a penalty, it was definitely a penalty, there was contact. But
yeah, which bit of contact though, Lauren? Was it the first one or the second one? Was it the goalkeeper?
Both.
Yeah,
both.
Okay.
I think they both did make a bit of contact, but it was very soft. You could see it going either way, in my opinion.
Yeah, do you know what? I definitely thought maybe the first one, I was like, I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he does. The second one, I'm like, I think the goalkeeper's definitely clipped him as well. So, like, must get a penalty for that. Nothing given, talk. Nothing at all. So, a boring 0-0 in the end.
Yeah, I mean, and again, if it was to back any team out of them two, I would have backed Brighton. Just because, Graham Potter's doing a great job at Brighton with that team. And I'm not the only one who said it, but lots of more people said it that, give him some decent strikers and because they create a lot of chances and, they're going to do much better. And the question for me is how long is he going to be a Brighton manager, before he gets poached?
I reckon England. I reckon England going to poach him at some point. If Southgate carry on doing as good as he has been.
I don't think he'd go for that.
Like an England manager, isn't he? Did he?
I know what you're saying, but I wouldn't mind it. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's more ambitious than being an England manager. I think because
that's the dream job, though, apparently, or it used to be back in the day.
Yeah, it used to be, but I think nowadays
it is. Yeah, but I mean, what he's the stage that he's at as a manager right now. He needs that next step up now up the ladder. To someone give him that moment of right here. Come on, then let's see how good you are.
Give you a bit of money.
Yeah, that's it. Better money, better
do.
players. But obviously with that comes more expectation, more pressure, and it's about how you deal with that as an individual, isn't it? Really, it's how you manage the pressure. Not just on yourself, but also on the team. And So, but yeah, I mean, it was the best game, to be fair, to watch.
I heard as well with Matt, with Potter as well, that Brighton actually were watching Potter for quite a few years before they brought him in. So they spent a few years knowing that they wanted him, but kind of sat back and watched what he was doing first and then said, right, we want you now. And I think that is absolutely class that they've got that much faith in him that they've watched him over a couple of years and still said, look, this man is the man for the job right now. And I think that's a credit to him, that they wanted him that much.
Yeah, agreed. I was going to say, though, Norwich will take that point, won't they? Brighton, that's a loss for Brighton, isn't it, Lauren, you think?
Oh, definitely. I think the way Norwich are going, they need to take any point they can scrape. it is a shambles. It's unfortunate, but I feel like Norwich are one of them teams. When they come in the Premier League, no one expects anything from them. So we never get surprised when they go back down. They're kind of like one of them teams. It's going to sound slightly disrespectful, but they're such a pointless team to me. There's never any excitement from them ever.
Sorry, Norwich fans, if you're
Yeah,
watching.
sorry, I do apologise. It's just that you just don't give us any excitement at all. And it's kind of like you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. It's predictable every single season.
They're a fluctuating club, aren't they? They're just up, down, up, down. They never just sort of always sit somewhere. Okay, well, let's talk about. We've got 2 games to talk about left, and then we'll talk. We'll read out some comments, answer a few, and then we'll call it a day. Southampton 1, Leeds 0. Lucky result from Southampton, I think, as well there, because Leeds, you'd say, are the better team, right?
Yeah, but with the highlights I watched, Meslier made some absolutely unbelievable saves, and I think he kept Leeds in the game for a lot of it. I think Southampton, by the looks of things, were the better team. They got the goal, and I think from what I saw, they deserved the win, and they probably deserved a few more goals in that game, to be honest. But again, you're looking at a team that was saved by the keeper, which in this game was Meslier. Yeah.
Did you watch any of it, Talk? Did you see the highlights? I know Daniel James had a chance, just went wide of the post. Nice to see him playing football and starting as well. It is nice to see. He's had a tough couple of years, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Leeds. I mean, the thing with Leeds is that they're such a dead set team with under Bielsa that it's like this is how it's going to be. We're not going to change. He very rarely changes what he does. And are they? I want to ask you. Do you think they're in trouble this season? Are they going to get relegated? Second season and all that.
Second season syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not looking good for them, to be honest, is it? You know what I mean? And I mean, Southampton created quite a few chances, and Leeds. Yeah, I think they need to go back to the drawing board, if I'm honest.
I think we just know that Bielsa ball's too predictable now. So anyone that comes in front of them know how they're going to play. So they already know what the game plan is before the game, and it's not going to change when you start that game and they end up playing differently because they don't. It's the same tactics every single game. Therefore, they're going to start declining because everyone now knows how to play against them. And that's the problem. Yeah. I'm not 100% convinced that they will go down this season, but I think they will really, really, really struggle.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So we'll finish off with this game. We'll look at the league table, and then we'll read out a few comments. Yes. Everton 0, West Ham 1. I mean, surprised by this result. I mean, West Ham are doing really well at the moment, aren't they? Let's give them credit. Like they're home and away. Actually, they're looking like a force to be reckoned with this season. And you kind of thought with having Europa League as well, they might find it difficult, but they actually seem to be doing all right.
I think they're reveling in it more so. I think this game was pretty meh. I tweeted it and someone said, well, you're not going to watch a Moyes versus Benitez game for entertainment value, are you? Because they're not the kind of managers that bring the fireworks usually. But I think... Yeah, there wasn't much going on. It took a very long time for the game to kind of get started. I think Rice just held that midfield really well for West Ham. They've got some really, really, really good players. And I think even with the Europa League this season, I still think West Ham are going to do really well. I think Moyes there has been really, really good for him. He's really impressed me there. I think their formation, their lines are very tight. They're very good at that, at keeping those positions. And they've got players like Bowen who I really, really rate. Everton, they're obviously missing, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, but I think the revival of Andros Townsend is mind-blowing. Where has this come from? He is a force to be reckoned with at Everton at the moment. He is incredible. When he's on his form, It's amazing.
I was going to say, Lauren, that he's so hot-headed at the moment. He even does the Ronaldo celebration in front of the United fans. I mean, that's, wow, you've got to be
Got
on
some
form.
balls to do that.
Yeah, you do, didn't you? I mean, what do you think then of Andros Townsend, seeing as Lauren brought him up? Because he's a resurgence right now. He's doing very well, and at Crystal Palace, you look like that's probably going to be it for him. He's not really going to get any better, but he's doing very well.
Well, yeah, look, he's gone to a bigger club, better manager. It's obviously brought him out. It's brought his what we all know that he's got in his locker to the surface. And I think the task for Benitez here is keeping that on the boil. That's the hard bit. It's you can motivate a player and get them up for it, but you've got to consistently do that. And that's maybe, I think Benitez is the kind of manager who can do that. I think he's a good enough manager to do it. But I would have expected, I don't know why, but I would have thought that Everton would have come out on top in this game. But like you said, we're missing Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin. They're missing two dangerous players up front there. And Antonio is a beast. he's a beast.
Really is.
You know what I mean? And that, there was a moment in the game where his first touch, this ball that had come like at a pace you just can't imagine. And his first touch was unbelievable. I was like, how on earth have you just done that? It was crazy. But you know what? I mean, yeah, West Ham under David Moyes, he's kind of reinvented himself somewhat, hasn't he, on his second stint. I think he's had a moment of realization that, I'm going to just be a little bit braver here with what we're doing.
When he went to Sociedad, I thought, Lauren, he's not going to get up from that, going to Real Sociedad and then getting sacked from there. I was like, this has got to be over. But no, Talk's right. He's doing well for himself after, considering what happened at Man United. And
I think when he got the offer to come back to the Premier League, I think he had a point to prove, because, he did all right for Everton. He was there for him. He was there for a while. And he came to Man United and it kind of ruined and tarnished his career. So he went to Real Sociedad thinking, oh, shall I try it somewhere else? It didn't work. And that could then really knock a manager, and he could have just gone, I'm not up to this anymore. I can't do it. That's it. Hang my suit up, or my coat up, and or even look at a lower league team. But no, he got the offer from West Ham and said, do you know what? I'm coming back and I'm going to show that I'm not done yet. And I think he's done it. I really think he's proved that he can do it still.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, from him? Really is. Well, let's read out. Actually, before we do, let's just look at the league table at the moment then. Chelsea at top with 19 points. Liverpool close behind on 18. Man City 17. Brighton, Hove and Albion 15. That's the one, isn't it, at the moment?
Jesus,
top 4.
Yeah.
I've just realised we're sixth. What the furry boots, man.
I know.
Honestly, you know what I mean?
Close, look at it right down there to maybe up to Leicester. It's still very close in between there and City. It's only about 5 points or so out, and then Chelsea's sort of running away with it a little bit at the moment, aren't they?
We shouldn't be 5 points behind, though. It's atrocious. We should not be 5 points behind first.
There's a lot of games to be played. Look, we've got 30 games yet to play, but even so, I do agree we should be still in the top 4 right now, to be fair. But you know what? Like I say, there's 30 games to go. And for me, I'm just waiting now to see, because Ollie himself said it, that something's got to change, something's got to give. And he also said that the team have said in training that they want to learn more, and they want some. I can't remember the other word that he used, but that said a lot to me when I heard him say that, because I was thinking, wait a minute, are you trying to tell us something here then? Are you trying to say, look, they want to learn more, but I'm not the coach. They're the coaches. So what does that tell you? You can only come to one conclusion. The coaching is a serious issue for us at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely is.
If he sorts that out, Ollie, I think that's where the turning point is going to be as well. But again, that's another story. But we shouldn't be in 6th place.
Is there
No.
anyone on this table that either of you are kind of surprised by? Obviously, the Brighton one, we've kind of touched on them, but is there anyone maybe lower than you think? Matt?
Leeds usually are not 18th, are they? So that you said about them worrying that you think they'll stay in. I mean, I think they're going to struggle this season, and Leeds as well. 17th.
I think the opposite way around. I think because Burnley, I think they'll, as the games go on, I think they'll start to improve, and you've seen it a few times with Burnley. And towards the middle and end of the season, they can gain points, and I think Burnley will be okay. It's Leeds that I'm more surprised with, just because of the way they were only I think it was 4 points off top 6 last season.
Yeah,
and now they're languishing at 17th. It's like, whoa, wait a minute. You see, something's gone awry there, hasn't it? So that's more my biggest surprise would be Leeds. Everybody else, Arsenal. Well, we know it's the process with Arsenal, and we'll see. Yeah, we'll see tomorrow, won't we? Actually, we didn't talk about that game, did we?
We didn't.
So that's going to be an interesting game. Arsenal Palace. Patrick Vieira.
Yeah. That's what I said to my dad. It's Arsenal against Vieira.
And if Palace win, they could go up to the same points tally as Arsenal. So that's.
So there's a lot to play for both teams there as well. Then, isn't there? So it should make for an interesting game.
Yeah, it should be, shouldn't it? Should we read out some comments then, and then let's do that, because there are quite a lot actually. So thank you everybody for tuning in to our first show, and pressing the like, share, and subscribe really does help. Vivian, you've been amazing. So if you talk, really good show with you today. Where should we start from? Jamie Gretton. Daka scored. Cheers for the information on that one, mate. Yes, Salah is. Salah on current form is the best player in the world. I think we all agreed with that at the moment.
Yeah.
To be honest, Ole got to accept some of the blame, and he knows that. But do he know who his first team is? You've got so many top players. Where do you play? Yeah, that does make sense, mate. And it's just, I think that's difficult. Because we don't have a CDM. So
I think the problem with Ollie as well, he plays the same team week in, week out, and doesn't look at who he's playing against and what players are needed. He sticks with that same starting 11. That's not always going to work against every team. So I think that's where he kind of lacks a little bit of, what's the word? Like initiative in his selection.
I think there's also an element of bravery needed as well. Do you know what I'm saying? I think there's an element of bravery needed in terms of he needs to trust players a bit more and be a little bit kind of, and especially with some of the youngsters that we've got at the club. We've got some absolutely fantastic youngsters at the club. And you know what? Give them a shot. Look at Mason Greenwood. Look at Marcus Rashford when they were given their opportunities. It's... Yes, big up Shah. Good evening.
Good evening, Shah. Big up to you and the Man United agenda. Go on, great show. Thank you, Luca. Question: why has Bruno Fernandes gone quiet the last couple of games? Lauren might want to answer that. I don't know.
Why? I've not got the answer. Has he? Yeah. We talk about players that should be benched because they're not performing, but we don't really put Bruno in that, because we have this kind of mindset that he's untouchable. I absolutely love him. I'm not sitting here and slagging him off, but at this moment in time, I'm struggling to see how he gets first team or starting 11, but we have no one else. No. So it's really hard, because he is such a good player, but he went missing this weekend. He went absolutely missing. He does always try, but nothing pays off. He's kind of, it's nothing. And it's a shame. I'm not saying he's done.
I think with Bruno, I think he's especially now with Ronaldo up there, I think he feels like he's got to now, because Ronaldo won't press, so it's like Bruno has to try and be in the spaces that you would expect Cristiano Ronaldo to press in order to help Cristiano receive the ball. but that's not helping us at all because he's too far forward at times.
Yeah.
Or he's either too far forward or he's too deep. There's no in between.
No in between.
You know,
yeah.
And that's half the problem. And you know what? Yeah, it's an issue. But listen, it's we've got one of the two best players in the world at the club right now. All right, I know he's aging, blah blah blah, but he's still a very fit athlete and he's capable. And we have to. This is why I think a 4-3-3 would suit Ollie much better. I think it really would suit Ollie. I think it would suit us so much better. Or I suppose there's an argument as well for the diamond in the 4-4-2. But this is why I'm thinking that maybe he may change it up because he's got to have a go-to now, hasn't he? He's got to have a go-to. After what's been said by him and what's been said by everybody else around him, he has now put himself in a position where he's got to change something. He said it himself. Something's got to give and something's got to change.
Yeah, if he's said it, he needs to do it, or people are going to be on his back saying, you said you were going to make changes, but you haven't.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think we'll see it in the Atalanta game.
Yeah, we will. This Wednesday or Tuesday?
Wednesday.
Cool. Afdeling Skills says De Gea is better than Mendy. What'd you say, people?
Look, in terms of the Premier League, right? Obviously, David has been in the Premier League longer. He's got a better record than Mendy. However, at this moment in time, in terms of actual performance, no, Mendy's way up there. Mendy's above De Gea, in my opinion, at the moment, just on current form.
I think De Gea is saving us in games. I think De Gea is performing the best he has in a few years, or at least from last season. But, yeah, I think... Oh, it's hard, but yeah, I think Mendy is probably slightly above him at the moment, even though he has probably saved us in pretty much every game we've lost.
Sorry about that. Someone's trying to call me. Where was we? Right, yeah. Big up Lauren from She Devils United.
I'm here now too.
Ding, ding. Chelsea are overrated. Oh, I don't know about that. Do you?
Who do you support after Ellen Skills? I don't know who he supports. I've seen you somewhere before. That name, I don't know where it's from. But anyway, here's what it is. Chelsea are overrated. Look, listen, I think there's still a little way to go yet before Chelsea can sort of put any kind of stamp on that they're going to do X, Y, and Z. I just think it's still too early in the season, and I think if they can overcome Manchester City, then they deserve all the plaudits they're going to get. But I think I don't see it personally. I just don't, because Pep, in terms of what he's got there with his squad, how long he's been at the club, his ability to, he's like a chameleon. He's a football chameleon. He can just change it like that, and his players can also be chameleons. So I just think that's where Pep's got the edge for me. But
where do you see Liverpool then in that argument?
Liverpool, I just think, do you know what? If they keep everybody fit and they get through the period when Mo Salah, Matip, and Mane are off to the AFCON, if they come out of that with all the points they need, then yeah, they will be there and thereabouts, having a good old ding dong with other teams battling it out. But if they don't, and also the injuries, if they get an injury here or there to key players again.
Yeah, they've not got a dense enough squad, have they, to cover injuries from their big players.
Yeah, agreed. Big up, Cuz from Brazil. Hope you're doing well, mate. Stay strong, bro. Stu MC, can we just take a moment to appreciate Maguire? Had a 4-goal involvements yesterday. Him and Shaw, I hope of foot teams.
Do you know what? I mean, it's the more I watch it, the more I just like you just want to go like that clip of Stephen when he's talking to the wall. You know what I mean? You want to talk to the wall and like try and get some sense out of it.
Oh, he was an embarrassment yesterday, unfortunately. I don't care whether he was fit or not. He still had the lack of awareness that an injury does not affect.
Big up Stephen as well, who's in the chat. Hope you're well, everyone. I did check my DM, mate. We are finishing off now, though. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. It was a great show, right, Lauren? First show?
Yes, first one. Hope you all come back for the next.
Yes, please
Yeah.
do.
Cracker.
We're going to shout out everybody's social media platforms where they can find you. And, of course, we've got Arsenal versus Crystal Palace tomorrow, 8 o'clock p.m. kickoff. Lauren, thank you so much for doing this with us. Where can everybody find you?
Twitter and Instagram. Which way am I going? This way. Lauren Page Souls. You get football, boxing, and F1 over there.
Brilliant. Talk MU, where can we find you?
Yeah, it's always usual place. Twitter, I Talk MU, Man United Agenda, on this channel, and Devils United.
Brilliant, mate.
Thanks for having me as well. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for joining us, mate. It's really nice chat. We got through a lot of things. If you didn't watch it, go back to the start. You can watch it all the way through. This will last for the next until the next games next weekend. Everybody have a pleasant rest of your Sunday. Go check out everybody's content, and we'll see you again next week. Until then, take care, people.
Bye.
Bye-bye.